question is which system you mean, and when there is no system, why it's not simple graphic design or design of something else?
Well, I think the way I would put it is probably to say that we think of design as an area of complex responses where you have many different media and many different devices at your disposal. So I don't think you can solve everything in A4 format, right? So I don't think it is necessary to limit yourself to only printed matter. And I think there are very, very different ways of responding to a given context or to a problem, or you want to kind of bring your own, let's say, authorship to a problem or kind of a context. So I think it's been very important to me to broaden a general definition of graphic or design as a whole. So that's been quite key in the work of the class for the last years. So if you would have been able to see previous diploma of final projects, you would see that there's quite a diversity. This is quite important. So there's we're also kind of quite interested in relationships to fine art. We don't think this is only a service-driven kind of understanding of design. But having said that, it's also we are not shying away from real problems either. So it is not to say, we all basically want to do arty projects for galleries. That is not the case. But we do find certain, let's say, relationships to fine art practices useful in redefining what design is.
So system design class is about collaboration with the whole world, with the whole atmosphere, with everything what is around you, and searching some not only graphic ways to express yourself.
Yeah, so I think it's really, I guess in a nutshell, it's trying to redefine what design is. That sounds quite broad and perhaps a bit preposterous, but I really think we are in a quite interesting time where design is also having enough confidence to perhaps pushing beyond a certain restriction of a expectation which comes from the industry. So, and if I say that, I'm completely aware that the kind of approach we are trying to nurture and to cultivate in our class is very niche. Now, there is, so in other words, we're catering for a very niche and elitist kind of practice of designers. And we fully embrace that, but it is not to say that we are not interested in the pleasantly dirty and applied ways of design. It is not to say that we are not interested in problem solving. Yes, we are, but we also want to bring some critical capacity to that practice, which has been, let's say, in the last 100 years or so, or quite often been rather associated with fine art, a kind of critical capacity, bring it to some public space, etc. So we want to combine an expertise in dealing with various formats and mediums, including print. It's been a long-standing tradition of this house as well, of this college, to have enough, let's say, experience in dealing with the craft side of things, but we want to inject it with the conceptual rigor which some people might associate rather with fine art. So I think it's really kind of a hybrid, if you like. So we're trying to bring things together, but we can just change our modus operandus, if you like, according to the project. It's very context sensitive, and so is this project we've done in the courtyard. it's very context sensitive. It's really trying to react to a particular situation of the college and of the space.
I see. And what's your next move? I mean, today is an opening, but for that project is some sort of ending. What would be your next project? For example, this year or next year's?
I mean, a project we've been working on over the last semester is called the visual event. And the visual event is kind of addressing some of the things I just kind of outlined, just trying to understand graphics as a discipline beyond a pure artifact production or an object-driven production. What I mean by that is saying that graphic designers are usually kind of either driven by or driven into the production of things. So you have books, you have flyers, you have posters, you have all these lovely things. They're kind of printed nicely or designed nicely, but it's all things, commodities. Now, the visual project asks the question if there's ways beyond that. Are there situations? Well, this is a situation. Okay, this is a relatively architectural response to it, but it is a response nevertheless. So it's trying to change the dynamic of a social context of a community. That's one way of seeing it. And the visual event is a project which we also turning into a book. Now, this might seem like a contradiction, because I was just saying we want to go beyond books, we want to go beyond printed matter. Now, we have to be quite practical about it, because we also want to find an audience for our work. And this book, which we will introduce or present also at the Brno biennial in Brno, that's Czechoslovakia.
Yeah.
And so that's something which we'll be kind of working on in the next term or next semester. So just trying to engage an audience which I think is very much our audience. It's also a kind of quite sophisticated graphic design audience which is interested in discourse and is interested in what graphic design could be in the next decade or beyond a very purely service-driven, what does the industry want us to perform kind of logic. So that's basically a big part of the next term, trying to, if you like, finding formats of distribution in terms of engaging an audience with of work which we've already done. So we do a book, but we also do a kind of let's say creating a space in Brno at the opening of the biennial to hopefully engage the audience in a conversation about these topics.
Okay, yeah. Thank you very much for your time. If it's possible, say some couple words for students in Moscow who will listen to us in a couple of days, I hope.
This sounds like a broadcast.
Yeah,
it's sort of
it
like
is.
talking live to Moscow. Hello Moscow, this is Leipzig speaking, that sort of thing. Well, I was initially saying in a couple of words I was using at the opening of the pavilion downstairs. We were just sitting in my office here in the Leipzig College. This is the office where I'm working, and maybe you get some of the funny sounds from the courtyard where there's some music playing. Now, when I just try to briefly outline what kind of spirit drove us to do this project downstairs, was to kind of reference an architect. Now this sounds all very kind of architecture driven, but I think that's kind of a coincidence. He's been an inspiration to me, and I try to infuse some of the work we've done in the class also by works which he's done. His name is Cedric Price. He's an English architect, or has been. He's not alive anymore. He's been teaching at the AA in London. And there's 3 words, or there's a motto he has been using in some of his work quite a lot. And that would be, if you like, if there was a message, I'm not sure it is, but if there was a message, it would be those 3 words, and they are doubt, delight, and change. and that's kind of my message to Moscow.
Thank you very much, Professor Klimpel, with us today.
Thank you.
Once again, congratulations with your opening.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me. Cheers.